On today's episode of Weight Loss for Women Over 40, we are talking about how to stop self-sabotage and start seeing results. So welcome to Weight Loss for Women Over 40 podcast. I am your host, Nikki T, and I am the person you find when you are ready to lose weight for the last time. My whole weight loss method is based on mastering your mind to change your body. And my signature program is the Jumpstart program. I absolutely love the Jumpstart program. I teach you exactly how to jumpstart your weight loss by losing the first 10 pounds in your first 12 weeks, like as in gone, never to return again. Then I'm going to coach you for the rest of the year. Yeah, the Jumpstart program is now a year long. And I do this so you can feel fabulous in that body of yours. And we can tackle all the holidays, all the vacations, all the birthdays, all the life things that come up that tend to get in the way of you sustaining your weight loss. There are no foods off limits in my program. I teach you a simple, doable, and sustainable way to lose those pounds you have been dragging around with you for the past 3 to 4 decades. If you are ready to release the weight and never have to diet again, then head over to weightlossforwomenover40.net/group and get started right now. As soon as you join, you will have instant access to step 1 of losing that weight. So did you know that today, January 10th, 2025, it is known as National Quitters Day? Yeah. It's the second Friday in January. So if you're listening to this episode on January 10th in 2025, then I want you to ask yourself, are you quitting today? This episode is perfect for it being National Quitters Day today, because again, we're going to talk about how to stop self-sabotage and start seeing results. So let's be clear and kind of understand self-sabotage before we dive into everything. Self-sabotage, we all do it. I do it. I want to say I have a degree in it from my earlier years. We all do this. And I think for me, it's frustrating on this level of like, why do we keep doing it, right? What is it that's stopping us? And when I talk to people, we're all like very perplexed as to why we keep doing it. And again, before I dive in, I want you to know that self-sabotage is very, very common and very normal. But what sets people apart from sabotaging themselves or succeeding in their goals? Self-sabotage often comes from deep-rooted beliefs that you don't deserve success, you don't deserve the body that you want, or some sort of fear of failure. This typically stems from how you grew up as a child. When we dive in, especially in my Jumpstart group, when I dive in with clients and we start talking about childhood memories and things like that, it is amazing how much will come up. And what I find fascinating is it can be very, very sneaky. Again, if you grew up in a certain environment, say parents were always yelling at each other, and in order for you to kind of deal with the chaos, you chose to emotionally eat, because that was like the only thing you could control. You can't control mom and dad having arguments. And if you grew up in that environment, it is very white noise to you. And sometimes you don't recognize it and you don't see it because it is common. And also the people around you, if you have brothers and sisters, they probably grew up in the same environment. So again, it's almost like this hidden or this blind spot that you guys can't see. So if 10 years ago you had told me that I was self-sabotaging myself, I would not have believed you. But knowing what I know now and really being on to pinpointing self-sabotage, not only in myself, but in my clients. And for me, there were definitely some outside influences swaying me to self-sabotage. And I recognize that, but ultimately I was the one who brought the guillotine down on my goals, whatever it was, right? Because you can have somebody tell you things. You can have people kind of push their ideas on you or give you suggestions, quote unquote, that you think are better than your own ideas. And that's how you squash your dreams. That's how you squash getting that body that you want. So common forms of self-sabotage include procrastination, perfectionism, and negative self-talk. This could be something from the thought that it has to be, or I have to be completely perfect. Or maybe you're deeply afraid of achieving whatever goal you set. So some examples of this are women who think that you have to perfectly follow the diet or the workout. Like there can be no mistakes, no days missed. It has to be 100% on point. And after working with thousands of women over the past 20 years, I have seen many women be so messy with the process and still get results. So I have inside what I teach is what I call rule number one. And even though the word rule sounds very restrictive, it is not. And you will see why if you join the Jumpstart group, why it's called rule number one. But it's more like a guideline with lots of flexibility in it. And I actually encourage my clients to do it messy because we do not live in some perfect bubble. I talk about The Biggest Loser a lot of times on my podcast of like, they lost this weight in this perfect little bubble. They had treadmills and access to the gym 24/7. They had a trainer, they had nutrition people, they had food that was specifically laid out for them. But then when they get home into reality, they're a hot mess and they don't know how to sustain it. If you're going to learn how to lose weight, do it incredibly messy. Do it when you have a vacation. Do it when you're going through the most horrible, horrendous time in your life. Because when you do that, you are guaranteed to be able to lose weight, maintain your weight, whatever you want to do with your body at any point in your life. It does not matter what is going on. And that is why I love my program so much, because it does not matter if you're going through a divorce, if someone has just died, if you're having a baby, if you're going on vacation, it doesn't matter. You're going to know exactly how to get that body you want and be able to maintain it. There are going to be times when you find yourself at a fast food place. I know I've been on many soccer trips where I was quote unquote stuck having whatever food the whole team wanted to have and deciding in that moment, what am I going to eat? If you're on some diet or something that you feel like has to be a perfect plan, you're going to freak the F out because you don't have the options that you need. Get out of your little bubble and really like dive in the deep end. Because when you're in that situation, you're going to freak out, you're going to berate yourself and shame yourself because you didn't follow the diet perfectly. Some other women think that they want to lose weight, but subconsciously they do not. Now, this could be something that maybe happened in their past, not to get into trauma or triggers, but there are certain traumas that have happened in maybe your life that have made you not want to show your body, maybe shamed your body almost. I don't want to get into all that on this particular episode, but again, the things that we grew up with, it could have been as simple as a boy in high school pointing out your girls that are unusually larger than most of the other girls in school. That could make you want to hide. That could make you not want to, show your body and cover it up. So when you think you want to lose weight, then you may be afraid of getting unwanted attention when you're leaner. Because let's face it, ladies, most of the time, if you're looking hot and sexy, which is, I think, is what we all want initially, right? You're going to get attention. Now, what you do with that attention and how you interpret that is another story. They also worry that once they get that new lean body, that you can't maintain it. I hear this 100,000 times from my clients. They're worried that they're going to not be able to maintain it. Again, the way I teach it, I teach you how to maintain your weight as you're losing the weight. And when you're in that worry state that you can't keep the body, and again, the diet world sets you up for this, right? You go on some crazy diet or take some shot that has you losing weight really fast, but you haven't learned the mindset behind how to maintain that body. And you freak out because you think you're never going to be able to eat cannolis again. It's absolute utter bullshit. I'm getting fired up about this because especially this shot and the information that is coming out about it, it scares me, anybody that's on it. I'm not trying to judge you or anything like that, but I just think that when you go for these quick fixes, you are setting yourself up for long-term dissatisfaction. There's something that's going to come down the line that is going to mess you up worse than it would have been if you took your time and understood the mindset and built the foundation in order to lose weight in a sustainable way. I get it. We want instant gratification. We want to see those pounds gone, especially if you've been dragging them around for 3 to 4 decades. I get it. But I promise you, that is not the long-term solution. So before I really go off on my soapbox, I'm going to reel it back into self-sabotage. So let's talk about uncovering the roots of self-sabotage. So again, self-sabotage is often linked to past experiences where you were told you were not good enough, or you weren't supported in your goals, or you were fakely supported in your goals, and then as soon as you start getting and achieving those goals, you got knocked down. I want you to think back to a time when you were a kid and you first heard something negative about your body, about the food you were eating, or something like that. Can you remember it? Because most of my clients can vividly pinpoint a time when they were shamed about their body and told they better not eat that cake or they'll be fat and no one will love them because they're overweight. Some version of that. I have talked about on the podcast and I talk about in my group program how my ballet teacher said I had big thighs. I have carried that with me since I was 15. Do I have big thighs? Depends on who you ask. So I literally had a client that had said that they were berated for having cake and that basically they would be overweight, and no one loves overweight people, which is, again, absolute bullshit. So we're not going to blame mom, dad, or whoever influenced in your life because chances are they had their own issues and they were doing the best with the knowledge that they had. But as a small child, you made it mean something about you. You are not lovable unless you look or act a certain way. It's very conditional love when we try to push, you must love unconditionally, right? How messed up is that? And it's unfortunate, the more conversations that I have with my clients, we have this image of a mom and dad and how they're supposed to show up in our lives. We're supposed to be loved and cared for no matter what we look like, how we act, like unconditional love, just because, our parents brought us into this world. I, as a parent, feel the same way. But the reality of it is our parents are humans. You are humans also. We're gonna make mistakes. And somehow, some way, as a child, we interpret things that people say and we take it to heart. We take it to mean something about ourselves. The problem comes in is that most of us are running around operating from that scared little unloved feeling little girl. As adults, we're running around with this mentality instead of being an emotionally mature adult. And I don't think we even realize it. I know I for sure didn't. I thought back 10 years ago, I thought that I was a mature adult and that I had emotional maturity. But what I found is that I had this thought that I'm not enough. Bunch of other thoughts that kind of supported that as well. But I didn't realize it and how I was making my decisions based on that thought. You probably have some thought that's running in the background too. And you may not be aware of it. It goes back to what I said in the beginning of this podcast. If you're surrounded by the people that grew up in the same environment as you, chances are you're probably seeing the same things. So if you look around at the people that you surround yourself with and you notice triggering behaviors or, everybody's overweight, it doesn't mean you have to cut them out of your life or anything like that, but just be aware that you are in a pattern that is being perpetuated by these other humans that are in your life. Again, I'm not saying you have to eliminate them or anything like that, but once you gain awareness of how you operate and what's going on in that brain of yours, you will be able to see it clearly. You will actually not be able to not see it, right? So to break the cycle, of self-sabotage, you need to identify where these negative beliefs stem from and consciously challenge them. Practice self-compassion and do some work on self-improvement. This is, again, I want to invite you to the Jumpstart because this is what we do. My weight loss program isn't about what food you're going to eat and what exercise you're going to do. It is all mindset based. We do talk about food, we do talk about exercise, but a majority of what we're talking about and discussing and diving deep into is the mindset behind what you do or don't do. And is it getting you to the results that you want? Is it getting you the body that you want? So how to stop self-sabotage and break this cycle? Number one, recognize your patterns. Identify triggers that lead to sabotaging behaviors. These could be stress, fear of failure, things like that. Step two, set big and small goals to regain your confidence. Celebrate every single win. I don't care how small or how big. I talked about this in last week's podcast episode, How to Bypass Quitter's Day. So you can definitely go check that out. The last step, getting accountability from another person can be helpful, but only if they have a certain criteria. And I discuss this again inside my Jumpstart program. My goal for you to come in as a client is to give you accountability, but ultimately I want you to take that accountability so you don't have to rely on anybody else other than yourself to get the accountability you need to succeed. So this is just one layer of what is going on and how you continue to self-sabotage yourself. And it's keeping you from living in the body you want and experiencing your life to the fullest. If you want to dive deeper into stopping your self-sabotage, I have created some bonus materials for my Jumpstart members, which includes 20 journal prompts to narrowing in on your sabotaging triggers. And number 20 is my absolute favorite. And patterns along with ways to overcome your sabotage so you can get the body that you want. If you want to get instant access, join the Jumpstart program right now. You can join at any time, and there is no time better than Quitter's Day. Stand up for yourself and don't quit. Join the Jumpstart program. You can do so at weightlossforwomenover40.net/group. I have some incredible bonuses inside that Jumpstart program. And again, once you join, you're in for the year and you'll get everything that is coming up. So you'll be able to keep the momentum going. So I hope to see you inside the Jumpstart program. Again, it's weightlossforwomenover40.net/group. Have a beautiful National Quitters Day, and I hope to see you in the group. And stay tuned for next week's episode. Have a beautiful day. Bye.